who was involved, and our attention is put towards apprehending those who were responsible.
3 corrections officers wounded in an ambush attack in Idaho that allowed a prison inmate to escape. And tonight, a manhunt continues for that inmate and an accomplice. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Authorities believe a white supremacist prison gang member got help on the outside to stage today's brazen attack and daring escape. It happened early this morning in Boise as those corrections officers were transporting inmate Skylar Mead from a hospital back to a maximum security prison. Authorities say they were ambushed by Nicholas Umfenauer, who started shooting at the officers, injuring 2 of them. Investigators believe police officers responding to the scene then shot a 3rd corrections officer. Mead and Umfenauer were able to escape in a getaway car, and tonight authorities are following leads, trying to track them down.
There are teams of detectives following up on leads throughout the night and throughout the day today. Right now, as we're focusing on the vehicle, it appears to be a 2020 gray Honda Civic, and that vehicle was seen fleeing from the scene. So we would ask for the public to keep an eye out, be alert, and look for that vehicle or anything else that may look suspicious.
One of those injured officers is in critical condition tonight. The other 2 have non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators spoke today about the process of transporting prisoners. They say it appears this ambush was coordinated.
We take a number of precautions, and in this case, we had 2 staff that rode with him in the ambulance, as well as providing a chase vehicle with armed staff. And in a typical higher risk situation like this, you have each unarmed staff member helps escort on one side of the individual, while you have an armed staff member that trails behind to keep watch.
Investigators say Mead and Umfenauer could be anywhere at this point. If you see them, authorities say do not approach them. Simply call 911. President Biden wrapped up his 2-day swing through the West by announcing a major investment in the chip-making giant Intel. During a visit to Intel's campus in Chandler, Arizona today, the president said his administration is working to provide the company with $8.5 billion in direct funding. The investment also includes $11 billion in loans for computer chip plants in 4 states.
And this historic funding will use to build new semiconductor fab facilities and modernize and expand existing ones in Arizona, Ohio, New Mexico, and Oregon. Combined, it will create nearly 20,000 construction jobs, many of which will be union jobs. This announcement will also support 10,000 manufacturing jobs, 3,000.
After today's stop in Chandler, the president headed off to Texas. And the back and forth over a controversial border policy in the state of Texas continues tonight. The U.S. Supreme Court let a state law take effect yesterday that would allow local police to arrest and prosecute migrants suspected of illegally crossing the border. Hours later, a federal appeals court blocked it. The White House argues immigration law falls under federal jurisdiction. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said today state law enforcement will continue to arrest people who come across the border.
And we will continue to build those border barriers, keep the buoys in the water, build a Texas border wall, doing everything we can to protect the sovereignty of the state of Texas and the United States of America.
It is not clear when the appeals court will issue its ruling. If they do allow the Texas law to take effect, the Justice Department has requested its start date be delayed until they can request emergency action from the Supreme Court. In the meantime, a bill modeled after that Texas law is now making its way through the Arizona legislature. What's called the Arizona Invasion Act would make entering the country illegally a state crime. As Fox 10's Lauren Clark reports tonight, the bill also sets tougher penalties for migrants who are ordered to leave and don't.
I want to share that we're going to be walking out in protest.
Democrats walking out of a committee hearing Wednesday. State Senator Rosana Galbadon said she didn't see the point of discussing HB 2748.
Why do we need to sit through more testimony knowing that these bills are unconstitutional and are going to be vetoed by the governor?
Inspired by a recent Texas law, the bill would authorize state and local police to arrest migrants suspected of crossing the border illegally.
In 2023 alone, there were more illegal crossings than U.S. births in this country.
We believe in securing our border for our country, especially in a time of crisis we're in with the world the way it is.
The goal of security is something Navajo County Sheriff David Klaus says he supports.
I know the citizens of my county are desperate for action. They're desperate for some leadership.
He, along with the Arizona Sheriff's Association, feel it's a step towards solving what Republicans and Democrats alike have deemed a crisis on our southern border.
What this does is it gives law enforcement a tool to use in certain situations when they need it.
But for opponents, they feel the ramifications of this bill would be disastrous, liking it to the controversial days of SB 1070.
It's profiling. It's racial profiling, and the way it's written is it's given permission to law enforcement to stop whoever they want just because of the way they look.
Sheriff Klaus disagrees.
We find it sometimes offensive to think that we as law enforcement officials would use that as that's how we operate.
It's a copycat bill of what we're seeing in Texas, and we're not elected to represent Texas.
And that was Fox 10's Lauren Clark reporting tonight. More than 24 exotic birds have been seized at an Arizona border crossing. Agents found 27 Amazon parrots while searching a vehicle at the Nogales port of entry. It's unclear when they were seized. Authorities believe each bird is worth between $800 and $3,000. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is pursuing criminal charges. A Northern California family is mourning the death of a 2-year-old girl who was hit and killed by a truck at a gas station. And authorities say a 3-year-old girl was behind the wheel during that crash after her father left her alone to go inside the store. It happened Saturday in Woodland, outside Sacramento. Police say the 3-year-old girl got out of her car seat and climbed into the driver's seat. The truck began moving, striking the 2-year-old who was standing near her parents at the edge of the parking lot. So far, no charges have been filed. In Utah, an explosion today at a senior living home left one woman dead. This happened in American Fork, north of Provo. Another woman who lived in that duplex was able to escape. Authorities say several surrounding homes were also damaged by that blast. The survivor's granddaughter told Fox 13 a Dominion Energy crew was at that home just one day before to fix a gas meter, and the company tonight says it is gathering more information about that blast. New details tonight on legislation that could lead to a ban on TikTok here in the U.S. Today, senators got a classified briefing on the potential national security risks. Fox's Caroline Shively reports tonight from Washington on why some lawmakers are concerned.
What did you do?
On one side of the TikTok debate, 1 billion-plus users, many outraged that Congress is considering a bill that would ban the app if Chinese owner ByteDance does not sell its stake in the company.
It's disappointing to see that it passed in the House.
Some of those users have taken the fight to Capitol Hill, flooding lawmakers' phone lines.
I had a kid just recently say, I'm going to hunt you down and shoot you and cut you into little pieces. She sounds like she was about 16 years old or younger.
On the other side of the debate, national security concerns. Proponents of the legislation say the Chinese government could exploit sensitive data of Americans, including children, or build backdoors into communication technology and supply chains.
Every technology company in China, under Chinese law, has to do whatever the Chinese government tells them to do.
There is no reason for TikTok to be owned, controlled, manipulated by the Chinese Communist Party.
TikTok pushing back, saying it's doing everything possible to protect users.
Over the last few years, we have invested to keep your data safe and our platform free from outside manipulation.
The House passed the bill, but it's unclear if the Senate will do the same. Members want to be seen as tough on China in an election year, but not as the guy who banned the favorite app of millions of younger voters. In Washington, Caroline Shively, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Up next tonight, online reviews in the dating world leading to a lawsuit. Up next, how a California man is hoping to get millions of dollars from women who posted about their experiences with him. Also, creating special bonds for veterans. See what's being done to make it easier for them to welcome service animals into their family.
And in weather, here's our live camera up in the Seattle area. Lots of cloud cover. Current temperature of 52 degrees. The rain remains focused up in the Pacific Northwest, but other parts of the West could be dealing with some changes as well. We'll have the update coming up.
In New Mexico, prosecutors in Alec Baldwin's involuntary manslaughter case say the actor tried to sway the opinions of a grand jury, that is. In court documents, they've accused Baldwin of being involved in the release of footage from the set of the movie Rust. In that video, the actor can be heard telling crew members to steer clear of the path of a prop gun. That gun went off on the set in 2021, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Prosecutors claim releasing the footage was an attempt to receive a favorable outcome from his November grand jury hearing. Baldwin's trial in this case is set to begin in July, and he could face up to 18 months in prison if convicted. A Los Angeles man is suing a group of 50 women for defamation after they all shared unflattering reviews about him on a Facebook group called Are We Dating the Same Guy? This lawsuit is seeking over $2 million in damages, including pain and suffering. Fox 11's Gina Silva spoke to two of the defendants who call the allegations baseless.
It's very bizarre. The accusations are baseless.
I feel not just for myself, but for my co-defendants and for the other women that he's gone after.
Olivia Berger and Vanessa Valdez are just two of multiple women being sued for defamation, libel, sex-based discrimination, and other allegations by Stuart Lucas Murray.
He's basically suing us for $2.6 million in damages.
It all started with this post on the Facebook group, Are We Dating the Same Guy? When Olivia and Vanessa saw the post and all the comments, they added their own experiences.
He seemed, in my opinion, pretty smug and very arrogant. The entire date, he was putting me down for various things, my job included.
Vanessa never went on a date with Murray because she says she didn't like the messages he sent her, at one point even calling her a moron.
Everything I said was just my experience with him and my opinions on how I think, he should not be on dating sites.
We contacted Murray for comment, but he declined an on-camera interview. Instead, he directed us to this website with a long statement that says in part, "This action is not a game, and the accusations against the defendants are serious. I rejected each of them and cut them off quite swiftly. Instead of going their separate ways, they went on for months and years to spread misinformation about me and countless others. Their actions were deliberate, and they are now playing the victims," unquote. His full statement will be up on our website.
This is not his first lawsuit. It's not his second lawsuit. It's not his fifth lawsuit. He has a pattern, and it seems to me that that pattern is most often directed towards women.
What have you learned from this experience?
The importance of speaking up and telling the truth and not being silenced.
And that was Fox 11's Gina Silva reporting tonight. If you do want to read the plaintiff's full statement on that lawsuit, you can head to our website, westcoastrap.com. We've posted it there. The cherry blossoms are putting on quite a show here in the West. Arborists at the University of Washington say about 70% of the campus's trees have reached their peak bloom stage. Quite a sight. Thousands of people flocking to the Seattle campus, and they come here every year to see about 100 cherry trees in bloom. This sure sign of spring, it's expected to last another 10 days or so. And of course, that depends a lot on the weather. And the man with the answers when it comes to the weather, KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo. Mark, I know we're in spring now, but we are sort of going to shift into a bit of a colder pattern here soon.
Yeah, and that's pretty much normal, Alex, for late March into April. Still could be an active pattern out there, and that will be setting up for portions of the West Coast over the next few days. Now today, showing you some of the rainfall totals up in the Pacific Northwest. Nothing major here, but you can see a few hundredths of an inch, in fact, under a tenth of an inch with these reports. But they'll continue to pick up the cloud cover and some rain showers over the next several days. In Seattle, the best chance of rain tomorrow will be mid to late afternoon, heading into the evening hours. You can see all the cloud cover today. Temperature of 51 degrees. In San Francisco is actually a nice day with some sunshine out there with temperatures close to 60 degrees. And out toward the Phoenix area, lots of sunshine with a high today, actually fairly warm, right around 80 degrees. So that's where you have the warm weather. Here is the satellite and the radar, as you can pick out the cloud cover up in Northern California. As we move into Portland and Seattle, some cloud cover here and some green showing up on the radar. So at least in terms of the focal area, picking up some scattered rain showers. That's up here. And as we take a look at the big view out here in the Pacific, it looks like we have still an active pattern developing, especially up in the Pacific Northwest into Northern California and eventually into Southern California as well. So here is the plan for tomorrow. For Seattle, lots of cloud cover. Temperatures will be in the 50s. The chance of some rain especially increasing later in the afternoon. For San Francisco, partly sunny. Southern California, mostly sunny skies. Temperatures in the 70s. And Phoenix could be close to the 80-degree mark once again. It looks like some sunshine. Remember, it was last week out toward Denver. They had the snowstorm, but they have sunshine tomorrow with temperatures approaching the 60s. So here's the forecast models. We put this into motion. We'll take this into your Thursday. You can see what's happening. So the rain showers, at least a chance up in Portland and Seattle tomorrow afternoon. Not too much happening in California, but as you can see here into Friday, that system kind of gets its act together. So rainfall spreading to the south for Eureka, down toward the San Francisco Bay Area. This will also be a snow producer out toward the Sierra. They have a winter storm watch that goes into effect Friday and into Saturday, and then into Southern California. Not too much happening just yet, but that could be changing later in the day and into the weekend. So here is the 3-day forecast. As you can see, lots of clouds up in Seattle, and they get the rain clouds over the next several days. For San Francisco, a sun cloud mix for your Thursday, and then we reintroduce some rainfall for San Francisco, especially by Friday afternoon. It is mild and warm, close to 70 degrees for Los Angeles and close to 80 degrees in Phoenix. And out toward Denver, they get a chance to enjoy some sunshine with temperatures in the 60s. So, Alex, heading into spring, it looks like we're still talking about a winter-like weather pattern with the winter storm watches out toward the Sierra and some rainfall making a comeback for portions of the West Coast.
All right, waiting for spring to really kick off in earnest here. Mark, thank you. Some Las Vegas business owners are worried they will not be able to stay afloat as Formula One racing is set to return to the Strip later this year. Last year's race, you'll remember, led to closures and traffic backups that hurt some businesses. As Fox 5's Jacqueline Schultz reports tonight, a deadline has now been set for race organizers to submit a plan to address some of those issues.
Cocktail service at Harris, traveling in the chaos of the traffic was not worth the money.
Worked at the Paris hotels. Work was so slow that my co-workers were sent home.
I went from having 12 co-workers to just 4 of us. There's 4 of us there for a 24-hour store.
The plea from strip workers to local leaders, they don't want to go through this traffic nightmare again. A group of small businesses fight the return of the temporary Flamingo Bridge, which F1 says will be back.
My family's livelihood, this is my future. We are in fear.
An hour-and-a-half race. They destroy all of us.
Transportation's got to be first. People need to know how to get to work. Why can't we have that information May 1st?
To avoid a repeat of traffic troubles, county leaders demand Formula One produce a transportation plan by May 1st. Clark County officials released a study of the race successes and bumps. In the area of roads and public works, the report cites problems meeting deadlines, delays in dismantling the race course, and urges F1 to work with the county to keep cars moving on the Strip if there's lane closures and strategize lane use. F1 released a statement. The county has provided helpful feedback and recommendations for a smoother implementation this year. We've already begun addressing those recommendations. This year's race preparations will be significantly streamlined, which will lead to far fewer traffic disruptions in a much shorter time frame.
The destruction of our business alone, not to mention the other businesses surrounding that corner, something does need to be addressed.
Some businesses announced plans to sue to prevent the return of the bridge and get compensation for their losses.
And there's got to be some way to have those people be allowed to be compensated, some kind of a structure. I'm sorry, no clapping.
Jacqueline Schultz, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
Coming up on West Coast Wrap, a heated exchange at Denver International Airport. Tonight, how Frontier Airlines customers were treated after being delayed for hours. Also, an animal lover finding a way to help veterans and their mental health. See how they're creating special bonds in the process. That story up next.
How is that the answer?
How is this?
We are busy.
Some tense moments caught on camera at Denver International Airport. This video posted to TikTok on Monday shows some Frontier Airlines passengers met with a screaming staff member at a customer service desk. That employee yelled at more than 20 customers who were trying to get information about why their flight was delayed by 3 hours. Frontier Airlines has apologized to those customers. The airline says the employee worked for a third-party business partner and is no longer associated with the airline. An Air Force veteran in Utah is teaching others how to train service dogs, all in the hopes of making it easier for fellow veterans to get a service animal. Fox's Lucy Nelson explains how these pets have a significant impact on the mental health of veterans.
For years, tail-wagging companions have been helping veterans struggling with mental health disorders.
Service dogs have been doing amazing work all along.
When Air Force veteran Betsy Feaster came back from serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, she noticed the number of veterans needing support and who could benefit from a service dog continuing to grow.
Noticed a lot of veterans with some pretty serious mental health issues because it's a different type of war than we've been fighting in the more recent history. So people were really suffering from either, mobility support for things that happened, losing limbs, things like that, or more commonly psychiatric support with PTSD.
She is the CEO of Dog Training Elite. And right here in Sandy, Utah, she is hosting the first class of trainers to train dogs for advanced cases of PTSD, suicide prevention, severe mobility challenges, and psychiatric support.
I think the mental health environment is changing, so we're trying to evolve with it. Suicide rate of veterans is at its all-time high. And this one is specifically designed to help veterans who have suicide ideation, that have more complex levels of mental health.
It's a step up from normal training, openly tackling what can be an invisible struggle so many veterans deal with. And it's designed to save lives.
We're teaching dogs, for example, how to alert on mental health conditions before they become extreme. So, for example, if you have a tendency for self-harm, how can the dog interrupt your behavior before that happens?
Many of these graduates, like Jeff Slack, will go on to help veterans and their service dogs here in Utah.
It's a very humbling experience seeing these guys and what they go through and being able to help their dog know how to help them in their times of panic or anxiety or something like that, and seeing the difference that these dogs can make for veterans is one of the main reasons why I became a trainer, is because I can see the value in it and how much of a tool and an asset these dogs can be for their handlers.
In Sandy, Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And finally tonight, a whole lot of money is up for grabs for lotto players here in the West. Tonight's Powerball jackpot has grown to $687 million. No one has won the game's biggest prize since January 1st. You can buy Powerball tickets in all the West Coast states except Alaska, Hawaii, Nevada, and Utah. That jackpot just continues to grow. Thank you for watching West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate it. You can stay up to date on the stories we're covering at westcoastwrap.com. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.